The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of that. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throb in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Podcast coming to you Tuesday, December 10th, 2024. It is once again the student report, of course, with the man Kyle Effin Nash. Kyle, what's going on?
You know, it's the little things in life, EJ Christian, when you're still amused by the fact that my middle name has still been altered just one single time as this show, whereas your name has been how many damn things? The latest edition, of course, being Jaworski. Yeah, man, football.
That's true.
I got it.
You're right, Jaworski. For you guys on this podcast that don't know where the Eagles Jaworski came from, check out the Huddle Up Podcast every Tuesday I appear on the Huddle Up Podcast Network Incorporated. I mean, shout out to Sean Patrick, the host of co-host of the show, Big Jim.
Sean Shine Steak.
Sean Shine Steak on I said steak state on Twitter.
Know where your mind is. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, hungry. No. By the way, last night I went out. I actually had a rare night out away from my family watching the game last night. Kyle.
Yes.
I went out with the degenerate and so Zach and my brother.
Because you got high.
I didn't get high though. I didn't get drunk either. They got drunk. I didn't. I ate like shit though. I had a quesadilla. I had a burgers and fries, and then I had a hot fudge sundae.
Oh, there's the over the top.
What a brownie.
Like quesadillas, bitch, please. Whatever. Okay. You had a couple tortillas. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
burgers and fries. Okay, that's a bit much. Sunday, like you were telling me about it on texting me before the show, and I gave you an angry emoji, man, because like right now, my diet is just it's man crap. Rabbits look at me and go, indulge. Anyways.
Well, and it's the thing for me too. Also, this is the hard part for me, being that it's the holidays. It's not just the holidays. For me, in my personal life, I have many friends and family that have birthdays and anniversaries and all that stuff that we all celebrate that. So I am like up shit's creek now with nutrition. So I have to be very careful. Now, luckily this morning, I woke up this morning, took my kids to school, immediately walked 2 miles after that to balance off this, spike. Because
the power of health compels you.
Yes. So I'm at least trying to offset the damage I'm doing, as you and I are diabetic brothers here, of course, on this podcast. But anyway, we have a lot to talk about today also. We're going to get to the NFL, of course, we do every single week on the show. We're also going to touch on the college football playoff, which is official now. The bracket's been released. But first, Kyle, I actually want to start talking about basketball with you, and specifically the team that you cover for which publication?
That would be the Fans First Sports Network, one of the teams I cover in both the Orlando Magic and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And the Orlando Magic, and yet another massive injury. Franz Wagner out indefinitely.
It's not just a massive injury. Do you understand that they hurt the same parts of their body, Ernest Christian? It's a right oblique. You don't even know how to spell oblique. I have to double check it if I'm being
Oblique. Come on, next question. I'm a smart guy, brother. Come on. But
you're a smart ass. That's
and it sucks because even without Paulo Banchero, they've played very well without him. They're in the top 4 in the Eastern Conference. They struggled initially, but then they surged after that. Franz Wagner's having a phenomenal year.
At the start of December, I might fudge the number, but I think at the point that they were 14-7 this season,
correct,
Christian,
correct.
They were 14-7 at the same point last year with one Paolo Banchero.
Yeah. And Franz Wagner's having a career year, obviously, and then also he gets hurt now. So, Kyle, what is the update on Banchero? What is the update on Wagner? When could we see them back possibly this year?
Well, we know over Thanksgiving week that Franz had light activity and was starting to participate a little bit, in shoot around and things like that. So he's slowly back. I wrote in my latest Magic article on Fans for Sports that who knows if the best case scenario happens, they might have him for a finals appearance should they get that far in the Emirates NBA Cup. But that was before Franz got hurt that I thought that. Now on December 10th, which as we're recording this is tomorrow night, they have to head to Milwaukee to battle the Bucks for the first Cup game.
And a surging Bucks team, for the record. The Bucks team has recovered from a slow start this year.
Yeah, they actually seem to have found their way a little bit. I'll be honest, I haven't watched a lot of Bucks tape per se, but what little I have, you can only imagine that it's Antetokounmpo just dunking on fools. Like, I feel like I have to call him that instead of Giannis because I am Greek. Okay? Mm-hmm. Like the undue social pressure that nobody feels, I have to stay ethnically correct. Meanwhile, there's still yet to be a Greek actor in a major Hercules film, but nobody wants to talk about that. Anyways, take that, diversity. Mm-hmm. Shouts to Mrs. Christian in her.
Yes.
I got to be careful talking to you. You'll make shit go political on a dime. But
you already know how this works on this show. Come on now.
Humpy Bumpy. I'm still waiting for
Humpy Bumpy.
Still waiting for you to invite me on for a political discussion, but you're too afraid.
Oh, don't you worry. Final contest coming very soon before this year's over. We're working on that.
I don't know, man. There's not a lot of time. And this isn't your fault, by the way. Like, excuse me, starting next week, of course, next Tuesday, I might be missing Huddle Up because I have High Point here at Edition Financial Arena with UCF women's basketball for the Black and Gold Banneret. Then, of course, I'll have probably press conferences for the Staff DNA Cure Bowl. Then the Friday is the Cure Bowl itself. And then also the Magic are hosting the OKC Thunder, of course.
That's a great game, man.
So, yeah, I'm going to be – and that's even without getting out, without your team coming to town. Possibly without Jimmy Butler if a trade is made.
More on that later.
So, You didn't drop the line yet, by the way.
Go Heat, bitch.
Much better. So
I'm getting good at this.
It'd be better if I didn't have to remind you every fucking time.
Talk, buddy. Come on now.
But it's a good thing you don't have football in the title of it, and that is just the Student of the Game report. It's almost as if you knew one day I was going to spread my wings and start shouting from my third language and threatening your very existence.
Exactly. Now you get me. Now you see.
Is that it? Anyways,
yes,
no, but
record is what it is.
all this aside, like, listen, were I a full die-in-the-wool Magic fan like our good friend Towley, a.k.a. Zach, who you'll also hear on this show. Yeah, everybody's favorite.
Tomorrow on the podcast.
Everybody's favorite degenerate making bad takes, just like you.
Although he's won 3 in a row. But he's getting hot now. He's won 3 weeks in a row.
Oh, hey, good. He can pay down some of those debts he's accrued. So, that's terrible. I'm sorry, Zach.
I'll tell him that, but he'll probably hear the show anyway and laugh.
Listen, I won't know if he thinks it's funny. He doesn't talk to me directly, but
we'll figure that out at some point. We'll figure it out.
No, if I were the Magic and I saw Sunday happen the way I did, granted, I get it. The Suns were without Durant, shocker. And I think they had Bradley Beal back, but
Beal's back. He's been playing.
Yeah,
and well.
Who's the other star that they were down though?
Dem Booker.
It was Booker. Okay. It's that. I get that the Suns were down that, but we're a proper Magic fan. If seeing them do that with Da Silva as a rookie in the starting lineup again, and Koga Bataze getting, he at least tied, if not beat, a personal or a career high in scoring in a game. Had another double-double. I think that's 7 for Goga.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of that game, I would have said, play the song, motherfucker.
You're talking about this past Sunday, right?
I am, absolutely.
Booker did play that game, actually, for the record.
Oh, did he? They were missing. Who else were they missing then?
KD missed. That's it.
I said that, but and maybe it wasn't a star who was missing. Okay, so they had their guys, other than Durant, which again, what else is new?
Well, Booker had 25 points in that game, man.
The punchline is play the song, motherfucker. That's what I'm getting at. Mm-hmm. And I'm surprised you don't have that on your soundboard yet. Orlando Magic, but that's fine.
Oh,
that's nutty, man.
I remember that song.
But yeah, the East continues to be an overall enigma. The Knicks are starting to get it back together. Yeah. These cup games are going to be interesting, I think. And of course, the West is the West and competitive as hell at the top. What do you think that the Spurs are a threat yet? Because I see Wemby doing some amazing ish.
Define threat.
Playoffs.
Play in, yes. Playoff, no.
Okay. Yeah,
they're not good enough to crack the six in the West.
I get that they don't have enough, and I listen. Well, as much as I love Chris Paul being a move for them to get a veteran presence, that's a development move. I don't think that's a move to make them a threat.
And you'll be correct on that for the record. Yeah. The fact that the Spurs are around 500 right now at this stage in the year is pretty damn impressive. In that conference too, especially. But are they a threat to do anything significant? No. Just the fact they're relevant now and in the mix to at least get in the play-in, I think is pretty significant, honestly.
Well, and that's the next stage in development you wanted. The question becomes, how long is it before, not that I wish for this. I don't think anybody following the NBA or an NBA fan does, but how much longer is it before, Pop keels over on the fucking sideline there, man? He's pushing years.
Well, yeah, also had a recent health issue, too. A couple weeks ago, you saw that.
My point exactly.
Yeah, so... But I did a segment on this show on my solo pod from Sunday, discussing my early NBA season disinterest. Now, I'm not saying I'm not watching. I'm just not as engaged as I would normally be.
There's a whole lot of hype other places. This year of all years, this isn't your fault, right? Football's drunk, both in the NFL and in college. It's the first year of the playoff. The committee's doing stupid shit, forcing you to actually analyze things. I feel like this time next year, you will be more NBA engaged as the playoff committee continues to reward shitty scheduling. More on that later.
There's also election year. There's also
that's a great point.
There's also injuries too, also from all stars that are missing time. I.e., we just mentioned.
I feel like that's every year.
No, but all in the same time. Like Jimmy Butler misses time, and then also Durant misses multiple time right now too. But also now, Ben Carroll's having a phenomenal year, and then he gets hurt on a dime. Like
Ben Carroll is the one real surprise injury I will grant you, right? Because if you're like, well, Joel Embiid and Kevin Durant, that motherfucker's always
he's barely played, but he's also barely played, and so is Paul George. They're now starting to get their feet on a little bit now.
Well, I'll say this: the one night they both played in Orlando, Magic took care of business with that. I'm just saying,
There you go.
It still blows my mind as a '90s basketball guy, EJ Christian, to see a 7-footer take the fucking technical shot for the Sixers. Damn it! I love Joel Embiid. I get why people were mad that he didn't win the MVP as much. But hey, listen, man, you can't help the club in the tub, Humpy Bumpies.
You mean last year?
Yeah,
because he won 2 years ago.
Right. I mean last year, right?
Right.
I mean, I get great. I get it that the Kendrick Perkins Joker is the MVP take because he's white, is old now. Still stupid, but
last year he didn't win because he didn't play enough games. Maybe he got hurt.
Correct. It's the establishment of that rule for 75%, which I both appreciate and hate at the same time.
Yeah, I actually mostly agree with you, to be honest with you, because it's we got our standards here. We just have to. I agree. But let's just hope and pray as an NBA fan who, for the record, really enjoys watching the Magic play basketball. I do watch their games a lot now, especially.
Name me another team that's dubbed a defensive team that's been this exciting. You don't see that mix a lot.
You don't. You really don't.
They're even more exciting to watch than the Kansas City Chiefs some weeks. Am I right? More on that later.
Oh, a little bit of a tease. But yeah. We shall see. I mean, we have a lot of NBA stuff to come up, and obviously, as the football goes by the wayside, the playoffs coming very soon in the NFL. College football playoffs are here now. We'll start seeing more NBA focus from me, especially too. I'll feel more engaged day to day in comparison to what I am right now. Anyway, let's get to speaking of the college football playoff. We are all set. We have our 12 teams, and Kyle, I have to be honest with you. and maybe it's just me being a little bit, maybe in a bubble, maybe I'm not. But it feels to me that based on, look, my reaction was you can throw criticism of the seedings and who should be higher and lower and all that, but I'm not seeing much pushback on the actual 12 teams selected for this thing.
It's because you're not paying enough attention.
Okay, so there is some pushback.
There's a lot of pushback out there. Joel Klatt went out there, and your boy Big Jim Neese looked like an idiot saying he was crying about Alabama. And
what
I'll put him on blast right now. He comes out saying, hey, listen, I love this playoff, but the committee showed they valued conference championships. And I only bring up Jim's name, Huddle Up Podcast, because last year I hinted that Clemson may get crowbarred in to that playoff scenario. Granted, they kind of played themselves out too, just like they should have this year. And hinted that there was a path for Clemson to still sneak in light of FSU losing, right? If they even lost that conference championship, which they weren't going to. But I made a statement on that show last year about conference championships being forced to matter in their eyes, even though, and this is how Joel Klatt put it, and rightly so, conference championships mattered. Okay? And I don't mean this to just call out Jim because, there are other people saying it.
I thought we already established a long time ago, though, that it matters, and it's called a day. I mean...
Well, but again, the main reason I call out Jim isn't to call out Jim, but to reference a take I made on his show about conference championships mattering to the committee. Now, because it was the 14 playoff and things were what they were, Clemson didn't have a leg to stand on, much kind of like Georgia didn't last year, because they were kind of knocked out of the way with the way things went, right?
They had a case, though, but I get it.
They did, but they didn't. Let's be perfectly honest.
Yeah, right.
But this year, comparing conference champions as if they're equals is absolutely stupid. And by the way, for all the people who want to come back with, well, what about Texas? Texas is too high too. Texas is too high too. Okay, can we get that out of the way? Both things could be true. They crowbarred 2 SEC teams in that neither of them actually belong, but you got to force one in because of automatic bids. And honestly, I get it. I feel like at least one ACC team should get in, regardless of the fact of whether their play is worth a damn. I believe if you're going to have conferences, you should respect their path to have something, right? Take it like the NFL. The Texans, to me right now, aren't a team that is a Super Bowl threat. And if we had a way to where, they played the playoffs today, they don't really belong, I could see the argument.
But granted, there was a winner, though, right? So,
but granted, in the AFC, such that it is, I'm not saying that is perfect science, because they should at least be a playoff team in the AFC as it's made up this year, something injuries. But the point you just said is, they won the South, so they should get something. They won the South and have a winning record, will probably finish with a winning record, ergo they should host a game. I get that. The ACC won their conference, they're crowbarred in to the playoff. Okay, I get it. I don't love it. I get it. But to have 2 ACC teams in is absolutely fucking nuts.
So you're saying they got it wrong, and basically what I'm gathering is
that's just where it starts too. But yeah, they got it wrong a lot of ways.
So you're saying, okay, forget the seeding. So seedings we can hang on that, and that's fine. You're saying SMU should have been in.
Correct.
Okay. And Alabama should have been in.
Correct.
Okay. I see the case for Alabama not being in.
I don't.
Because
all you got is they lost to 2 6-6 teams. That's cute. We're paying way too much attention to where the losses are. No one is looking at actual successes of the fucking football teams. And that solves all of the problems. Let's go with Notre Dame. As critical as I've been of them, what has been the one argument that I cannot refute? They at least beat a ranked team at some point on the year and did something worthwhile. Yeah. And also they got their G5 revenge eventually by beating the shit out of the rest of the teams they played in that designation and just generally dominating everybody that wasn't Louisville.
I do think, though, that if...
well, let me land the plane, though.
Oh, go ahead.
Like,
Go ahead. I'll talk about
yeah.
that.
So whereas SMU and Clemson beat precisely nobody of note. Did either of them play Miami? I know that SMU didn't, right?
Right.
Like, and what's the stat for SMU again? They didn't play a conference team with a winning conference record on their schedule at all.
Right.
I don't know that they would beat Georgia Tech. They're an American team that showed that they were better than the basement of the ACC. They were allocated an easier schedule just by luck. I get it. But when they were actually not even a tough test, here's a struggling Clemson team that has been antiquated for no fewer than 3 seasons at this point, and they took you down. But it was a 56-yard field goal. Hey, if you're so great, it shouldn't have been close. This is the same argument with why FSU was kept out. If you belonged in the playoff, you wouldn't have looked terrible against Louisville. Period. And that's just where it starts, by the way. But
right. So here's what I think about this, based on what we saw what played out this past weekend. What saved SMU was the comeback. I think if Clemson stayed on that,
that's not what did it.
Wait. So you think if Clemson had kept that big lead and SMU got blown out, they still would have gotten in?
Do I think Clemson would have still gotten in? Okay, that part probably not. I see where you're going.
And made that and tied that game in the fourth quarter.
I think it's that. Let's say it's a combination of what we're both saying. I think because it was a close game in a conference championship, the committee crowbarred them both in. And a conference championship, participating in a conference championship in the SEC is not the same honor as it is in the ACC. I don't think anybody questions, with anybody with any repute, questions the SEC is the best conference. And I think few argue that the ACC is the worst of the Power Four.
I agree with that.
Now, I know there's some people that criticize some things that Arizona State said about, their situation. They got a bye. I think they're fine now. They're the one team that actually played multiple ranked teams throughout their schedule in the form of BYU and then eventually, of course, Iowa State, right? Mm-hmm. And also winning a game or two without their top running back. I know personally that happened because they beat UCF. I covered it on the Black and Gold Banneret. Arizona State, of course, I referred to there, right? So, meanwhile, you have a Penn State team that has beaten nobody and has the easiest path to the playoff. Now, I can make the argument that this is the biggest crime of them all because all you have to do is reseed the fucking teams, and that's all for. But you idiots couldn't even get that right.
I feel like this is going to come in a couple of years.
Then why should it take that long? Change the fucking shit now. Reseed the teams now.
I agree with you. I think that should have been it from the word go. But I think they're going to play out this way first and see the reaction, see how everything plays out. I think if not next year, the year after,
I think they've already gotten their reaction. Like, I think they have enough feedback to where if they said, "Oh, hey, by the way, guys, after this first round of games, we're reseeding. Deal with it."
So what I hear from you is this: is that you're saying to me that Alabama was dead man walking anyway, regardless of what SMU did.
Apparently so. Well, no, we can't say regardless because to your point, if SMU or Clemson got bombed in the conference championship, they would have put Bama in. But because
that's what I'm saying though. I'm saying to you that Clemson had a big lead in that game. And I'm saying to you right now,
Clemson had a what? I didn't hear that.
Clemson had a big lead in that game. Clemson was leading them big in that game to the fourth quarter.
Okay.
SMU came back, tied the game late, and Clemson won on the last second field goal. I'm saying to you that if Clemson stayed on their neck and that lead stayed the way it was in the first half, that SMU might be out and Alabama gets in. That's what I was saying.
I just agreed with you on that. Not just once, but earlier.
Okay, so making sure. Okay, making sure. Yeah.
No. The main thing that got murdered here is, and I'm gonna keep hitting this, and I hit on it weeks back, was dubbed the pariah on Huddle Up by basically the panel. Got pushed back. I don't know if I got pushed back on this show, but I've gotten pushed back other places about the fact that this is not good. You've rewarded people for having shit schedules. And now that we've gotten the playoff that we have, everybody's matching that take. Whether it's Joel Klatt, whether it's Locked On Big 12's Drake Tull, both excellent people, by the way. They're understanding that, and I'm not going to bring Notre Dame into it because, again, the reason why their situation is so weird is because they beat a ranked team some point in the year. They can say, hey, we passed our test, bleep you. We'll work on the Power G5 thing once we understand that tradition is guilt trips from dead people, okay? Yeah. So, and actually, I think it was Huddle Up Podcast, Matt Muehlheisen, that had the best take of leave Navy on the schedule for the tradition. Everything else can change up if you want to be serious. And I'm with that. Being said, so the main piece for me is we got away from the BSC. I know. I said what I said. It was the BSC.
You've been saying for years.
Well, yeah, but not everybody knows that I refer to the BCS as the BSC. I got it. I know. As big as my ego is, I also have to acknowledge how old I am, Ernest Christian, and how long you and I have been doing this.
Yes.
I might be cocky, but I'm also the most humble mother beep in the room. So I say all that to say, we got away from the BSC because we hated watching teams duck competition to make sure they can get to undefeated or as close to it as possible to be 1 and 2 at the top of the BSC. The compromise eventually brought, after however many decades, was the 4-team playoff, which, to be honest, I felt like got it right more often than they didn't. Nice high bar, I'm sure. The latest edition of the 4 was perfect, and Knowlers like yourself just couldn't handle the truth. It is what it is.
I understood the assignment. It just, is what it is.
Now,
obviously, no push. Go ahead.
Now we're right back to rewarding mediocre schedules in the form of Indiana being in the playoff at a high seed. They're hosting a game, is my point. Of Penn State doing precisely nothing and having the easiest path to the playoff. Ohio State hosting a game when they lost twice, and yet we're mad at Alabama. Whatever. I know Alabama lost 3 times, but details. And then Oregon, the one team, as much a bigger frauds as I think they in the top of the Big Ten are, I can't post an argument for because they're undefeated. The one team in the Big Ten that I could say unequivocally looks like a playoff team when I watch them play football is screwed by the toughest path in the whole thing. And I'll admit that part I'm kind of stealing from Joel Clapp, but he happens to be fucking right. So we're rewarding soft schedules again. The very problem we were trying to avoid decades ago, you've let creep right back in to protect your conference championship games.
Yeah, I get it.
I warned you guys 2 years ago about this on Huddle Up. But nobody wants to talk about that. And if you don't believe me, go on the Huddle Up YouTube channel, I believe, or either that or the Huddle Up TikTok. Damn it. Whichever it is. But there is a short devoted to me making that point in the interest of humor, or to make Kyle look silly, or to be comic relief, or just evoke intriguing thought. I don't really care which one of the 4 was the reason. It's there. And I make the case then that the committee is going to try to protect conference championships if given the opportunity. But like I said, they weren't given the opportunity that year. So
right. Obviously, no pushback on Miami not making it. Right? There's no remotely any pushback.
Beat the Orangemen, bitches. Next question.
Even Miami fans acknowledge in my personal life that they agree that they got it right here.
Same.
Are there
any? By the way, anybody advocating for South Carolina, if Bama was so bad, beat them. Anyways,
are the other teams that outside of SMU that probably shouldn't be here, or is this pretty much okay outside SMU?
I mean, for me, the 2 problems, if we're talking about pure
just being in there, forget the rankings. Just being in the 12.
Because the rankings are ass. You'll acknowledge that. But I also understand there's going to be an element of wonky because of compelled bids. That being said, I do like the G5 compelled bid. My problem is I feel like the number one seed should get to play the G5 if they're so inclined, because they're number one goddamn seed. Separate question. And of course, they have to win a game for that to happen because the one seed has a bye, right? That's basically inevitable, and rightly so. But the seeding is all wonky as hell, man. I get compelled buys. I think they have to be there to kind of save the committee from themselves, because if they didn't do it, I think ASU, not so much this week, but leading into the conference championship game, like they actually had them outside of the top friggin' 12 inexplicably.
Mm-hmm.
So we've both seen the pros and cons to automatic bids here, right? And I think we mentioned it last week that Arizona State is proof of the positives of why conference winning is there, and it's served as a natural correction for the committee. But if the committee's so fucking bad at their job, you need those protections. That's a separate problem, right?
Yeah. No, I thought obviously the rankings. To me, it's not for me worth even debating the rankings at this point, because it is what it is with that one. Just get the 12 teams right. I think it's more important 12 teams correct.
I'm not even remotely watching in any of the Penn State playoff games, if I'm being honest. So
You're not.
I'm not, because they either get trounced by Texas as they should, or win and then get an easy path through Boise State. And why would I want to watch that football?
Do you think Penn State did a little bit of a respect towards the fact they were competitive against Oregon on Saturday? Do you feel a little
No.
Okay.
No.
I thought they gotten housed, but
oh, great! You didn't get mollywopped. Good for you, Humpy Bumpy. What the fuck are we doing here? This isn't Boise State. We're not rewarding them for not losing to the number one team.
Right.
Wait, too soon? No, and actually, I don't know if did I get one of the brackets wrong? I mentioned Penn State playing Texas.
Texas. That's on the wrong side of the bracket, I think. Hold on.
Right. That's yeah. Because they're 5 and 6. I don't think 5 and 6 played.
No, they wouldn't play Texas until the Final Four.
But yeah, correct. What is it? I got to remember.
They'll play SMU right now. If they win, they'll play Boise, and if they beat Boise,
Boise's got a bye.
No, they'll play Boise if they win.
If they win, right?
Right, and if they beat Boise, they'll play Texas for the title, I think.
No, but who's their who's their
that?
first? I can't find the stupid graphic I had.
SMU is the first matchup. SMU.
What the hell are we doing here? So let me get this straight. Penn State's path is the G5. Well, why don't we just put Notre Dame there? Anyways,
I'm actually intrigued by the Indiana Notre Dame matchup.
Oh yeah, the battle for the state.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the biggest Indiana fan on the planet. That's what
hashtag you problem.
I don't
go
care.
Irish bitches.
Which matchup is most intriguing?
Make sure you hear all that, Irish fans. Go Irish bitches. There you go.
Which matchup in the first round are you most intrigued by?
If you don't know the answer to this already.
Tennessee, Ohio State?
Of course. I listen. Seeing Josh Heupel and everybody's favorite colored hair enthusiast, say what you will, it's a fascinating matchup. And so long as he doesn't try to mold his team into something they're not again, like he did in the Michigan game, this should be one hell of a shootout. If you like points. By the way, I know this isn't a Big 12 game, but bet the over, bitches. Okay?
Yeah. No, I that's gonna be a fun one too. And hello, Ryan Day's job on the line starting next week.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to win. He's got to get people say the national title, he's win the title. I think he has to at least get to the title game.
No.
You don't think him beating Ohio State and then beat Oregon that bracket?
The reason why is because he committed so much malpractice. I shouldn't say he created. He executed so much coaching malpractice in that Michigan game. He not only lost to Michigan, which Ohio State fans will grant you, will say is the bigger crime. Yeah. That coaching malpractice kept them from they're still hosting a game. But it kept them from getting a higher seed. They could have gotten Penn State's seed and had an easier path. Matter of fact, I can make the argument that Ryan Day's decision to try to match Michigan toe-to-toe ruined the bracket. Because if Penn State is there playing Tennessee, it feels a bit more justified that they're going through a tougher path. And I know people, myself included, and a number of people on the Huddle Up panel surely would disapprove of such an easy path for Ohio State. But at least at day's end, they'd be a one-loss team, and their only loss is to the undefeated fucking Oregon. I can defend that, sort of.
Yeah.
Ryan Day's shit was so bad against Michigan, it ruined the playoff. Mark that.
So basically, title of bust for Mr. Day.
Now you understand why.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes total sense.
It does now. You mean you didn't think so earlier?
Yeah. One last thing. On college end, Heisman Trophy, Heisman finalists have been
Travis
announced.
Hunter next.
Okay. Travis Hunter, Cam Ward. Who's the other one? The other
Ashton Genty, and the fraud himself, Dylan
Gabriel. I know. I when I saw Dylan Gabriel, I was like, come on, dude. I know the 12-0, but come on.
And it's at this point, it's a courtesy, right? If there's an undefeated team, their quarterback is going to get
by default,
vote.
Right?
Yeah.
But how would you rank the four guys? I think I know you just said Hunter, but rank the four guys of deservability, like power ranking style. So Hunter number one.
Hunter, Genty, Gabriel, Ward.
I agree with you, but the last two. I would flip the last two.
The reason why you're wrong is because Oregon, on top of being undefeated, most of them, if not all of their wins, have been undecided. You don't hear, or I shouldn't say undecided, been decisive, except for obviously Ohio State in the single point and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I don't know how many overtimes Oregon has been in. I'm fairly certain it's 0. What I do know for a fact is it's a lot fewer than Ward has been in with teams with whom he should not be in overtime. And I know, but the defense, that's fine. Mm-hmm. You want to tell me Oregon has a thunderous defense in their own right? I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they ain't enough to take shine away from Gabriel.
I feel like without Cam Ward, this Miami team's not even bowl eligible.
Sure. I can make the same argument for Oregon, potentially.
But Gabriel, you think Gabriel? I don't know.
If Gabriel isn't at quarterback completing the passes and for the staff surrounding them, no, that's probably not fair. Here's the thing. Okay. Because there's controversy tied to Ward, I have to hold that against him, right? Because what was it? The Virginia Tech game? What was it? The controversial play. Now, granted, I think the refs got it right eventually.
Right.
But there's just too much of that for me to put him ahead of Gabriel. And the way in college football, the way you reward a team is by hitting their quarterback. I was about to say that Oregon can't do it without Gabriel. I don't know that that's true. I will give Gabriel some credit for having to come in behind a Bo Nix. That's a tough ask. I could put more shine on some of the intangibles with Gabriel, despite his being a complete and total fraud, over Ward, who he wasn't fraudulent, but his team was. And I see your argument, but it's not an MVP award. It's a most outstanding player, something, and it's the with integrity that are questionable. And I don't want to get into that here, but like I said, it's Travis Hunter, it's Genty, and then it's Gabriel and Ward.
So Hunter, I think is going to win it, but I do think that Genty needs to be taking a serious look, because what he did with that Boise team this year, and
he's flown to New York and he's ranked second in the picking. That serious look has been taken. He's gotten his flowers. Right. In no universe. Okay, this isn't. I don't want to hear about fair and balanced bullshit. There is no world that a guy that averages over 100 fucking snaps a game should not get the award for doing what he does.
Which I agree with you.
At that level. Forget it.
Which I agree with you. Boise's only loss against the one team in the country by 3 points And he's literally carried that fucking team. Gentry has. Did he have like 200-yard rushing yards 200 yards rushing this year?
Has he played defense? Has he played defense?
Right. No. And again, I'm with you.
Played
no
defense?
And I'm with
then,
you.
But when you say bad statements that other people are embracing, because you have me on your show, I am forced to take those bad statements as a representative of a narrative that's out there at great mass and dunk on them. Unfortunately, you are the straw man that I have to dunk upon.
I'm just saying that Gentry did some anomalies with him, what he does to make that a conversation. That's all I'm saying.
The reason why that argument is bad is I can make the same statement of UCF's RJ Harvey, and the only difference is A, not playing a G5 schedule, and B, the win-loss record, which is a team stat.
Yeah. Okay. I'm again with you on the Hunter thing. This thing Gentry should get even more love.
But again, have to dunk on that take because you presented it on your show.
Right. All right, some NFL talk here. All right. I watching that Chiefs game on Sunday night, the ending, the field goal that wasn't, then was, and then
I think I've finally begun to understand on why people are starting to hate Mahomes and the Chiefs in the same fashion that they hated Brady and the Pats. I'm not there yet because I've told you people for years now, this is the Chiefs football you're going to get because they're a defensive football team.
Correct.
How long have I been on this kick?
2 years.
Pardon the expression. What a pun.
That was great.
I didn't do that shit on purpose.
Hey, Kyle, from the hip, son.
From the hip, son. Hey, here's another one from the hip. It makes me not like Denver because I didn't block that kick. Ha! No, but listen. Too soon? By the way, your playoff participating likely Denver Broncos, right?
Yes, looking like it is more and more likely.
If y'all are mad at this point at seeing this from the Chiefs, then y'all haven't been paying any fucking attention. The best response that's actually out there is the use of the GIF from Breaking Bad, from Jesse Pinkman. He can't keep getting away with this. Mm-hmm. I get the sentiment. Do I love watching it? No. Do I love watching Chris Jones? Yes. Does he deserve to be rewarded? Absolutely. Am I going to nominate him for 3-name treatment coming up here soon? You bet your entire ass.
Yeah. What I love is that all this like hand-wringing from like people who don't like the Chiefs, obviously, saying, they're gonna get caught. They're gonna get caught. They're gonna get caught. And like, okay, I get it, but what if like all this hammering about them getting caught and not playing well still ends up in a result winning a Super Bowl? Now what? What are you gonna do about it?
Well, we got to get there first, right?
Yeah,
and that's
because they did this shit. Because remember, people forget they did this same shit last year.
Not quite like this.
Right.
I'm gonna have to push back, and I'm not here to say that I understand the sentiment. But what was it that was killing the Chiefs? It was less that the Chiefs were winning in close defensive battles and more that Patrick LaVon Mahomes II and the Chiefs defense were overcoming drops, right? At least they could be kind of, for lack of a better word, sympathized with because receivers did dumb shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's happening a lot less. It's more about the fact that Patrick LaVon Mahomes II is playing, I'm not going to say bad football, but certainly not one associated with GOAT status. Kind of like we've seen happen with your boy Brady at times in his career, but nobody wants to fucking talk about. Right?
Yeah.
So when Brady was doing bad and he won, people would react similarly. Now, in no world did Brady have one of those statistically bad games and win a Super Bowl. Right? I feel like him missing the playoffs, which did happen a couple times, just like it did with Jordan, deal with it. Except Jordan is the GOAT and Brady isn't, right? So
calm down.
I think the best exhibit of watching Brady play less than great and then have justice, air quotes, as the fans would see it, find him was his last year in Foxborough, where he threw an interception playing the Titans in a playoff game to get eliminated.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I guess they're waiting for that elimination, interception. The entire nation of the NFL has more behind these Buffalo Bills than ever before. And this was the year you, rightly so, had doubts about them in the playoffs. I called them making the playoffs, but I was skeptical. I will also grant I did not see Tua Tagovailoa being knocked out for the year by week 2. I know he's still playing now, but you know exactly what I mean.
But not to build the Dolphins there, but you're seeing his play. He's been phenomenal since coming back, and clearly that him missing time there hurt that team.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have to be out for the entire year, but him being out killed their year because that defense has been as atrocious as we all thought. But I thought they would have more wins padded, excuse me, before he came back. And then losing to the Cardinals by a point, for example, or did they win that by a point? I don't know, but I don't remember immediately. But
Cardinals game, they lost. They lost the Cardinals game.
They did lose to the Cardinals. Okay, yeah, so shit like points. That is an impact. Like it's a whole thing, you know. What was 28-27? They lost to the Cardinals. They lost to the Bills by only 3. I mean, I get it. But you know, division game wacky in the case of the Bills.
I just love at the end of the day how funny it is. Hysterical. I mean, I know you guys always tease me being a Chiefs fan, but like I love how the Chiefs have broken everybody's brain. I just love it. It's hysterical.
Don't use that everybody shit.
Not you, because I know how you feel the Chiefs. I'm talking about everybody else, especially the people who hate the Chiefs and trying to find reasons to hate the Chiefs.
What
the luckiest team in the world.
What character do you think envelops my understanding of the Chiefs?
My character?
Yeah. Because I think it's Lucifer Morningstar. I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
That's right. Good point. And
by the way, in your defense, at least you're listening now. Some motherfuckers still ain't listening.
Yeah. Broken the brain, brother. Are the Steelers Super Bowl contenders now? Because I'm there. I think I'm there now.
For the sake of this discourse and for your audience, please understand. Please explain your definition of a contender.
In other words, do I see this team? Okay, in the case of the Steelers, do I see a scenario where they're playing in the AFC title game this year? I think I can see a scenario of them that happening this year based on the makeup of the AFC.
So let's bear that out. Am I stalling? Yes,
sort of.
But I'm stalling in the name of avoiding giving you a fence-sitting response. Meaning, excuse me. So you're telling me that you believe that the Steelers have a chance of beating one of the 3 following teams. The Buffalo, in postseason, mind you, with Russell Carrington Wilson at quarterback. And that would be either the Ravens, among the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Bills, which, by the way, the Chiefs are on the schedule at week 17.
Correct.
In a game that the Steelers will probably fucking win because if things go the right way, the Chiefs will not be playing full strength because they'll be resting guys.
Yeah. And they're getting closer to that now because the Bills lost to the Rams this weekend.
Yeah, that's
a 2-game lead. Yep.
Huge loss by the Bills. It was just one of the hugest losses.
Yeah. Big league.
Not just for bad reasons. More on that later. Okay, well, we've seen that they can beat the Ravens simply because that's the biggest rivalry in the NFL right now. Does part of me hope that that's the conference championship? Hell yes. Do I think that'll happen? No.
Yeah.
But so the Steelers would have to do it in a fashion where they actually won the Super Bowl over the Seahawks. No. Yes. Where they started from the 7th seed and fought through some badass teams. Okay. So with that, by the way, Peyton Manning among them, obviously. So obviously I can see them beating the Ravens. Can I see them outlasting a Chiefs team if TJ Watt or Minka Fitzpatrick capitalizes and turns a Patrick LaVon Mahomes II turnover into points? I can't rule it out, which means that they would then have to possibly then beat the Buffalo Bills. If they were to even take that shot, it would be in the conference championship game. So by your logic, there is a possible seeding and path to the AFC championship game where the Bills are waiting for them, but they would have successfully made your criteria. So by default, slight yes is my response.
Buffalo is actually the hardest of the three games for them matchup wise.
Matchup wise, correct. Very good.
Chiefs, while frustrating, are beatable. Ravens, obviously, there's familiarity with the Ravens, so they can definitely beat the Ravens on any given Sunday, obviously. We saw them a couple weeks ago. So, yeah, and my confidence in this is more so as we've gone on this year. And this is why I think Mike Tomlin should have consideration for Coach of the Year.
Top five, at least. Top
five. That's easy top five. I mean, that's almost insulting.
Well, you know, and I think we should have that conversation if you want to, because there's a lot of good ass arguments for Coach of the Year this year, bro.
Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota.
Sure.
11-2. I mean, that's ridiculous.
We got to mention Man Campbell for the sake of preventing our knees from getting bit, right?
Sean Payton,
indubitably.
Mike Tomlin's the fourth.
Tomlin's definitely in the convo. What about crap? I forgot the Arizona guy.
Well, they've fallen apart now, though.
If they win the conference, or if they win the division, though,
I don't think they're going to. No, I think Seattle's up 2 games now.
Okay, so we'll take him off the list for now.
I think the Bills coach also, I think, should be in the conversation now.
McDermott should be in the convo. I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Though I would push back, keep him below Tomlin. That division has gotten artificially easy.
Dan Quinn, maybe in Washington, possibly.
Not anymore.
Strong though.
Not anymore. No, because he in the big moments in division, they've kind of for now he can crawl his way back to top 5. But Andy Reid's got to be on there. I don't give a shit if you hate the Chiefs or not.
It's coaching. It's coaching.
Yeah, like part of the reason that they're Saturday Night Fever in that they're say it alive.
That was good.
Is him, right? Who else? I'm kind of jumping around. I mean, we got Harbaugh makes the short list, but I don't think he's top 5. You know?
No, I don't think he makes a list at all. To be honest with you. So,
what's that?
I mean, some people may argue that they've actually under the Ravens.
Okay, no, I said Jim Harbaugh, not John Harbaugh.
That is the 5th one. That is the other guy. Sorry, Jim Harbaugh is the 5th one. Yes.
We'll
see how they finish the rest of the year, but
but for now he's on the short list, as I said.
I think if there's one transaction that might give Tomlin an edge now over everybody else right now, and for me anyway, is having the balls to change quarterbacks in the middle of the year, even though the team was still winning games. And it was and at the time, I remember this too. I actually remember this. It was actually an unpopular decision at the time. And it's the reason why I feel, and it's actually the reason now I feel like the Steelers have a good chance to go to the Super Bowl, because Russell Wilson is starting to do that throwback thing again now. He's playing very well. The throwback now, Russell Wilson. He's having that resurgence again.
Well, what is he doing for the Steelers exactly?
He stretches the field now in ways that Justin Fields couldn't do it.
More importantly, what is he doing on 3rd down?
Converting them.
The same thing I said that he was hiding behind and relying on back when I said that Rusty wasn't sliced bread to start with, right?
Right.
What we're seeing, I won't call it a regression, but Father Time, listen, when we're born, we're in diapers. As we go out, we're back in diapers. And that's what we're seeing here. What a fucking analogy. That's what we're seeing here with Russell Carrington Wilson, right? Mm-hmm. His job is to let the defense and the running game control pace and just don't fuck it up. Go back to being a point guard, go back to being a game manager, and not a guy who's a playmaker, having to run the football and create stuff and break hearts, right? Now, convert the 3rd downs, make the easy passes, and fool people by, I might be old, but I can still run a little bit. And now suddenly, Tomlin's a hero again. I think this is what they were looking for, by the way, when they started Mitchell Trubisky ahead of Kenny Pickett 2 years ago. But they didn't get that because, well, Mitch Trubisky is Mitch Trubisky.
That's right. Yeah, so this is why I believe Tomlin is probably, if I'm ranking right now, and this is, if I'm saying who's number one right now, Coach of the Year, I think Tomlin might be number one for me right now.
Really?
Yeah, right now.
Ahead of the guy that has a team that has created a culture of an offense that can beat you several different ways, that has turned what has been a poverty franchise into a championship contender possibly over him. I don't know. Kenny Pickett might say, or not Kenny Pickett, Kendrick Perkins might say you're racist. I'm just going to throw.
Well, he'd be wrong on that one. Should the Atlanta Falcons bench Kirk Cousins?
Yes.
Why?
Because Michael Penix is awesome.
All right, and a bell for that too. Also, wow.
No, that was accidental. I moved my phone. I bumped it. No, listen.
Good timing though.
It depends on the roster. Check that. The franchise's belief in Kirk Chainz. If you really think he's the best chance to win, if you don't think Penix is ready, you're doing it wrong. Because the thing that shouldn't be driving your decision is the money that Cousins is making, right? If you're doing it based on that, you've failed the exercise, right? If it were me, even if it's just for a week, you set Kirk Chainz down, you said, listen, you need a bit to get your head right. Something's off. And actually, before I go too far down the rabbit hole, let me check the Falcons' schedule. Because really what would determine whether I made that decision this week or not depends on the opponent. And I got it pulled up. So you're playing the Raiders this week. Start Penix, for fuck's sake. Yeah. You know. And then if he gets hot, then it's the Giants. Then if he stays hot, now we have Penix versus Daniels when they play the Commanders. Or the argument could be, hey, Kirk Chainz is struggling a little bit because after an abysmal performance to the Saints, he did play 3 straight playoff caliber teams in the Broncos, Chargers, and Vikings. Maybe he turns it around, rattles all 4 straight, taking out the Raiders, Giants, Commanders, and Panthers to finish out the season to get this team back to double-digit wins and potential playoff berth.
Yeah.
I should say Kirko should be on some short chains. If he comes out struggling at all against Vegas, you put in Penix, you try to save the chance for the season to win the NFC South.
I got to say, though, and I remember we were doing this podcast in April after the draft when we were trying to react to why would they draft this massive deal a month before that. I think we see why they drafted Penix.
No, well, okay. So then by that rationale, what we're realizing is that Kirk Chainz was a bad signing. Just saying. Like long term, he wasn't an answer. And I don't think he was paid to be a long-term answer. So.
Right. He was a very expensive bridge, if you will. It really, I mean, it's what it comes down to, because I think we're going to see at some point this year. I think Kirk's best days behind him now. You might get one more year of Cousins next year, if anything. I don't know.
I hope not, for Penix's sake, for his development's sake, especially for. I'm not here to say that Raheem Morris is my favorite coach, but the opportunity for him to have a coaching consistency for at least a season before he sees real action, I think, is more important than Cousins' salary.
Right. I don't know the structure. I don't know the structure of Cousins' deal. But I wonder.
But I think it's a 2-year deal, so that in and of itself makes both years just wicked fucking expensive. Let me double check.
Well, it's basically Daniel Jones 2.0. In other words, it's a 4-year deal, but it really, in actuality, is a 2-year deal.
Because they front loaded the way. Yeah. Well,
right. Exactly.
Oh, don't listen. And that was a bad deal too.
Well, of course it was. We're not defending that.
So I mean, revisionist history because hindsight 2020 bullshit. No. I had that take back when they did it, and I had that take with the Fey Princess of Football, Danielle Orsino. The whole reason why I had her on over Thanksgiving week on the Student of the Game podcast is so the two of us could do our victory lap trying to tell you all bitches about Saquon Barkley. Not you, EJ Christian, but, you know. And there are still some moron Giants fans out there that are trying to defend the signing. I don't.
Wait. No, they are?
I'm not saying they're in the national
me.
media. I know them.
Okay.
I won't expose them. If I were inclined to be someone who was sharing his name, I would say his first name is Jeff.
Yeah. Oh no.
So I did say his name last week.
Jeez, it's so bad. The Seattle Seahawks are red hot now, and all of a sudden they're 8-5 and in firm command of the NFC West. Do you now trust in the Seahawks?
Not really. And yeah, I know I said 2-year deal earlier for Cousins. You're right, it is 4, but like you said,
I think it's 2. I think it's 2 years after you can get out of the deal. I think
it's potential out 2026 with $35 million in dead cap. However, the dead cap number is 90 this year, 65 next year. So it's pretty nutty.
Pretty yummy.
Cool. And considering the fact that his cap hit otherwise is, get this, $57.5 million for 26 and 7. It's almost as if they're shouting out, "Don't sign me!" Jesus. Anyways.
Mm-hmm. So the Seahawks, trust them, yes or no?
No, man. What have they done for me lately? Oh, sure, they've won some football games, and winning football games is the point. If one former Kansas City Chiefs coach Herman Edwards is to be believed, you play to win the game. However, and I know we don't do power rankings or polls in the NFL, and I get it, beating the Cardinals by 2 scores is significant. Beating them twice is significant in 3 weeks. But the other wins are sneaking past the injured ass Niners, who are cooked, and the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to believe in you, Seattle? Win one of the 2 in Green Bay, and the Vikings come up in the next couple weeks, and I will be if they beat the Packers. Please bring this back up next week. If they beat the Vikings in 2 weeks, please bring this back up. Right now, I am Bishop Bullwinkle, and my answer is hail to the no, to the no, hail no, to the. You didn't expect gospel on this show, did you, EJ Christian?
You dabble once in a while on that. You have some credibility. Come on now.
I am invited to the barbecue,
absolutely, without question.
According to you, according to Travis D. Holmes, Duval Dive, and
even G Stelio,
even G Stelio,
and he's Spanish.
GWSCWILIO. Yes, I am.
I can argue that you're probably more allowed to barbecue than he is.
My pigment is darker physically. That is true.
Yes. I miss that dude. We gotta get him back on the spot at some point, somehow, some way.
Well, if we could get him, make sure he stays up a little past 6 p.m., we'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll make it work somehow. So my thoughts on the MVP race right now, it's a 2-man race at this point. It's
Chris Jones and TJ Watt, right?
Okay, maybe we go with that too.
No, and it's true. Listen,
I like the narrative though, but damn well it's going to be Saquon and Josh Allen.
Oh, those cowards last year weren't going to put CMC in. I'm thankful we at least got Lamar. For me, Lamar is in the rear view. I'm sorry.
He is now, yes, without question.
I would like to see Chris Jones or TJ Watt today ahead of Lamar. Can he get back in? Absolutely. There's still way too much football to say anything declarative. But I feel like the longer the Chiefs win in the fashion that they have been, the more credibility goes to Chris Jones. The way that the Steelers, if they continue to win the way that they've won TJ Watt, I mean, buddy, TJ Watt had an interception this past week. Like, what are we doing? He's
that damn good.
He is. He is worthy of the name Watt. And in heaven, at one point, I will be able to see a football game where he and his brother play together in peak form, and the highlight reels will be entertaining.
So right now, the current MVP odds right now, Josh Allen -450,
Sure.
You got Saquon Barkley plus 500, Lamar Jackson in third plus 1,200. You're gonna get mad at this one. Jared Goff plus 1,600.
That's just uneducated. See,
yeah.
no. The reason why I understand you reading that on a betting line is there are idiots out there that will do that.
Yeah.
I don't see that. Not that I'm super in touch with the national media. I'll be clear. I see enough to know that there's a lot of them that don't watch the games, like Emmanuel Acho. I don't give a damn if he's breaking down film on Twitter or not. He doesn't watch the games.
Right.
But, and by the way, Eagles fans, chill. I'm not leaving Saquon out. I just don't believe there's enough votes to pass Josh Allen for what he's done, even in a loss this past week.
Especially when you consider the fact that Josh Allen's doing more or less. Saquon, when he went to a made machine, a team that went into the Super Bowl 2 years ago with virtually the same pieces, minus Jason Kelce.
Well, and the most interesting thing with Josh Allen is the conversation I've had regarding him going into the season is they're asking him to do less, and now he's an MVP candidate. It's kind of weird, but one reason why I think that's happening, in case anybody's wondering, is because he's doing less, he's making fewer mistakes. So that addition by subtraction of reps enforcing what he's doing is increasing his value. The award is MVP, right?
So. Yeah, most valuable player. The next two here too, also, both at plus 3,000. Pat Mahomes and Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold's interesting. The answer's still no.
No,
I think that's
but I think there's already been a conversation though. I think I don't think he's game managing the Vikings at all. I think he's winning games for the Vikings. Actually,
no, Jefferson is responsible for that.
Huh?
Justin Jefferson has more to do with him winning games, I think.
Right, but again, he's pushing the ball down the field. He's not just like running screenplays and whatnot. He's actually pushing the ball down the field. Granted, he has two guys, like Addison and Jefferson, to catch the ball, but you still got to push the ball.
There's no but. Like, it's them.
Yeah.
It's Kevin O'Connell's coaching, which is the reason why he's a Coach of the Year candidate. Like,
absolutely.
This is the voting you got in 2022 with Dayball getting Coach of the Year, but then Saquon getting snuffed.
Yeah.
If that's how it happens this year, in that Darnold doesn't get it, but O'Connell does as coach, that's correct. If you want to make him a candidate, fine. I don't love it. I can make a case that it's okay compared to Jared Goff, because Jared Goff has both Sonic and Knuckles and Amon St. Brown and a great tight end and one of the best offensive lines in the business and a defense that's overcoming injuries like a mad mother that shouldn't get overlooked. So no, it's not Jared Goff. Darnold, him having Justin Jefferson and Hawkinson both are slight points off. But you're penalizing him for having good players. Yes, it means his value is lower. It's called the MVP. MFVP, that's right.
Yeah.
MVFP, sorry. But, I mean, that's the punchline. Like, the Bills receiver core has suffered injuries. They're without Stephon Diggs. Their defense has kind of played worse of late, even though they were a big part of the success early. But Allen has still done Allen things without turning the ball over. He has in other years. He's looked less like Brett Favre.
Right. Did you see this meme yesterday that came out? It's a picture of MetLife Stadium, and it says that if Disneyland was the happiest place on earth, where do you think the saddest place on earth is? It's in
Cleveland.
MetLife Stadium. Jets and Giants.
Fair, but Cleveland is also a correct answer, right?
Really worse than New York right now? No, at least Cleveland's.
Hey, listen, at least Daniel Jones wasn't facing allegations, homie, okay?
That's true. That's a good point. but I thought
although, in your defense, well, no, New York technically has the Knicks, too. So anyways, I was about to say something about Donnie Mitch and the Cavs. But
the Knicks are good, though, at least, So.
They are now. They didn't start out that way. But Donnie Mitch and then Cavs, man, woo!
Yeah. That being said, right now, going into this offseason, because both the Jets and Giants are fucking horrible. And I'm living that experience right now. But who would you rather be now going into the offseason right now, the Jets or the Giants?
The Giants.
Okay, explain why.
The path to reboot is clearer.
Yeah.
Whereas Aaron Charles Rodgers is sounding like he's going to do everything he can to get in the way. And then there's somewhere out there, there's not Rex. Yeah, Rex Ryan,
Yeah.
who's campaigning to coach the fucking team.
Did you see that? Yeah.
Not that I'm anti-Rex. I think he's a good coach. I don't know that I would want him to be a head coach in this day and age, because those teams that he put together to win, albeit with a very limited Mark Sanchez. I don't know how that translates, man. I don't know, because for one, will they have enough draft pick or capital to get up there and get somebody? If the Jags actually win some more games now that they're mathematically eliminated, which is the most fucking Jacksonville Jaguars thing that could ever be done, and take themselves out of the Travis Hunter sweepstakes, there's a chance he ends up there. Though I think Dion will kibosh playing with ayahuasca, aka Aaron Charles Rodgers. I see the fact that all the factors are confusing with the Jets. When with the Giants, I feel like the answer is, if you want to keep Daboll, keep him. Reboot, let's go. The end, bitch.
Well, as a Giant fan that you don't believe I am,
it's not whether I believe it. It's what you portray, sir.
Oh, calm down, buddy. Calm down, okay? I already have my stuff from the garage sale, that I got, yeah. That.
One time, I want to put that there and pin a Chiefs helmet on.
That would be funny as shit, though. Be honest with you. No, but for real, I've already expressed numerous times on this podcast that I would rather the Giants keep Daboll and Shane one more year, let them pick the quarterback this time around. Because people forget that the quarterback, Daniel Jones, was not picked by them. It was picked by David Gettleman. And in fact, I've gotten confirmed now that the Daniel Jones extension was due to the ownership group that wanted him here. John Maurer and company wanted him here, not Shane and Daboll. So let's hope Shane and Daboll have a chance to at least pick the fucking quarterback. I'm sick and tired of going through these coaches every 3 years now. It's annoying. Stop.
No.
So that my vote. Now, is Daboll on the hot seat now going forward beyond this year? If he's back, yes, absolutely. But give him a chance to pick the quarterback and see if he gets any movement moving forward.
The question, and here's the unfortunate part about Daboll. While I make jokes about him while it's completely accurate that he didn't earn Coach of the Year in 22, I'm not here to say he's necessarily a bad coach either.
Right.
Being said, if the organization is truly opting to reboot, doing that means clearing the GM, which probably then by extension means Daboll, right? So that's the other issue. If they're opting to stay with the front office, again, fine. Let's say they do that. Okay, the answer to the roster is fucking reboot. Still easier to figure out than the Jets scenario.
Agreed. So yeah, but that being said, I'd rather be the Giants, obviously, because the path is clear. I will say Aaron Rodgers' best game in the last 3 years I've seen. This past Sunday because Miami, he did some of those throws and he was actually mobile and looked really good.
And played against one of the worst defenses.
Agreed. But at this point, you got to start somewhere, right? I'm with you 100%.
Kyle Bowler had some good games with the Ravens too. I'm just saying.
Remember that name? Jeez.
Kyle, I should have been a bowler. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I do think this is a world that the Jets, if they were to end the year respectively, that obviously they go into the offseason. You know what? This is our core for another year. There's no point of having that money. You still got the quarterback, but hopefully Rodgers, one more year Rodgers, and maybe this works in 2025. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe I was being naive by that. But I do see a world that they do hold on to Rodgers another year just because, and then go from there.
Yeah, no, I mean this is why hindsight is a benefit with Rodgers, man, because based on the quarterbacks that we've seen succeed quickly in the time that Rodgers has been playing in East Rutherford there.
Yeah.
When he started making demands about what players should be brought in and what staff should come and go, their response should have been to send him a digital copy of CeeLo Green's song.
Okay.
Yes, I said they should have said you.
Yeah. Because I think if Rodgers has
play that on your darkness retreat. Sorry, go.
If Rodgers has any desire to play in 2025, I think his only option is the Jets because I don't think any other team's going to want to sign him.
He's proven to be a pretty toxic asset, hasn't he?
Exactly.
And you can't even say the Ravens because they're going to go for Shador.
Well, no, Giants, I mean.
I said Ravens, bitch.
Ravens?
Or Raiders, sorry.
Raiders, okay. Ravens, so.
Raiders,
anyway,
bitch.
Yeah, that's right, bitch. Kyle, great one as always. Plug away, buddy.
Honor, joy, and privilege. Great to be back in. Listen, man. Football, basketball, so much today. I know why it was a longer show.
Yep.
Of course, I am Kyle Nash. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as a student of the game. Check out my writings on the Fans First Sports Network, on the Orlando Magic and the Jacksonville Jaguars, as well as the Duval Dive with Travis D. Holmes. You can find that on Wednesday, 7:30. Also, immediate instant reaction after the game. Hey, listen, my daughter won't have a recital, so I'll be able to watch the entire game, and I still would have missed just as much as I did with the recital. Yes, I'm making fun of the fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars just won a game with the lowest point total of 2024, 10-6 over the Titans. Oh, goody, you beat Will Levis. Anyways, check out my work as well with the Black and Gold Banneret covering UCF basketball, men's and women's, as well as UCF football. A lot going on with Scott Frost in the building, back in the building. That's just weird.
So that is official.
Oh, yeah, he had the opening press conference Sunday night. Like I said, I only missed it because I was with my daughter for her recital and, doing daddy things.
Old as new again, apparently.
He's saying all the right stuff, and he even was wise enough to manage expectations. I hope no one's expecting undefeated next year. Like, he got a laugh at the presser, but also I think that was a shot across the bow too.
Settle down. He has a good track. He has a good track record there. So
he doesn't really exactly.
More another debate later on, I guess.
It's not a debate. These are facts, and I'm happy to explain it to you. This isn't a UCF show, yeah. So anyways, Black and Gold Banneret for that and basketball stuff from me. Of course, the Night Shift Live podcast. EJ Christian, the Black and Gold Banneret YouTube channel's over 1,000 subscribers. You should be one of them. Do that. Smash that subscribe button for both the Black and Gold Banneret and the Duval Dive, which is itself approaching 200. So make sure you hit that up as well. Make sure you also hit up the Duval Dive podcast out there. That's how Cal gets paid. So make sure you at least shadow click that, I mean, listen to the episode. Me and Travis D. Holmes do have a fun time, even though we're talking about a garbage team. We do touch on other topics in the show, so make sure you check that out. And, I mentioned the Magic. Student of the Game, 9 o'clock Wednesday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern. So make sure you check that out. We'll do some picks and go through the latest in the world of the Humpy Bumpy.
Will I see tonight on Huddle Up?
If all goes well, I think so. Yeah. Next week is when I'm out. I will be covering UCF women's basketball hosting High Point, their last non-conference game of the season at Edition Financial Arena for the Black and Gold Banneret. So, an honor, joy, and privilege, EJ Christian. But until next time, everyone, class dismissed.